These are the must-know California CDL air brakes questions. For the full 375-question cheat sheet and interactive practice tests, check the link in the description. Let's jump into the first question. What is the normal operating range for air brake pressure before the governor cuts out? A. Typically between 150 and 175 psi. B. Any pressure is acceptable as long as the brakes feel normal. C. Typically between 100 and 125 psi. D. Typically between 50 and 70 psi. The correct answer is C. Typically between 100 and 125 psi. This range ensures you have adequate braking power. If the pressure doesn't reach this level, there might be a leak or a failing compressor. What is a common operating pressure for most heavy-duty air brake systems? A. Typically between 140 and 160 psi under normal conditions. B. Typically between 60 and 80 psi under normal conditions. C. Typically between 100 and 125 psi under normal conditions. D. Any pressure is acceptable as long as the vehicle has anti-lock brakes. The correct answer is C. Typically between 100 and 125 psi under normal conditions. This range ensures consistent braking while leaving a safety margin. If pressures deviate too much, a system inspection is needed. What is the recommended procedure for testing the air compressor governor cut-in pressure? A. Reduce pressure by pumping the brakes and note when the compressor resumes building pressure. B. Apply the parking brake repeatedly until the safety valve opens. C. Turn the engine off and wait for the pressure to rise on its own. D. Increase engine speed until the gauge stops rising, then record that number. The correct answer is A. Reduce pressure by pumping the brakes and note when the compressor resumes building pressure. You want to see the needle start rising again around 100 psi. If it doesn't, the governor may not be functioning correctly. Why is a leak down test conducted on air brake systems? A. To make sure the engine can idle smoothly with the brakes applied. B. To confirm the tires are not leaking air during braking. C. To increase air pressure by forcing the compressor to run continuously. D. To ensure air pressure loss is within safe limits and detect leaks. The correct answer is D. To ensure air pressure loss is within safe limits and detect leaks. By measuring how quickly pressure drops when the brakes are engaged or released, you can spot any significant leakage. Early detection of leaks prevents brake failure and violations. Why must you chock wheels when performing mini air brake tests? A. Releasing the parking brakes can allow the vehicle to roll if there's a leak or slope. B. Because chocks increase air pressure by sealing the tires. C. Because chocks are required only to protect the brake chambers from moisture. D. Because chocks prevent the air dryer from purging. The correct answer is A. Releasing the parking brakes can allow the vehicle to roll if there's a leak or slope. Chocks act as a physical block to keep the vehicle stationary. This precaution prevents accidents during inspections. How often should you test the low-pressure warning signal? A. Every day as part of your pre-trip inspection. B. Only when the vehicle fails a roadside inspection. C. Only once a month unless you notice a problem. D. Only after driving at highway speeds for at least 30 minutes. The correct answer is A. Every day as part of your pre-trip inspection. The warning signal, light or buzzer, must activate before air pressure drops too low for safe operation. Verifying this ensures you'll be alerted if pressure dangerously decreases on the road. Why are air hoses and couplings checked for abrasions or leaks before each trip? A. Damaged hoses can rupture, causing sudden air loss and brake failure. B. Because minor leaks are normal as long as the compressor runs. C. Because abrasions improve airflow and make brakes respond faster. D. Because couplings only matter for accessory air, not brakes. The correct answer is A. Damaged hoses can rupture, causing sudden air loss and brake failure. Regular inspections help you detect wear or cracks early. Ensuring intact, leak-free hoses is critical for safe, consistent braking. Why must you wait for the air system to fully build pressure before driving? Oh, because driving early improves compressor performance by spinning it faster. B. Because the brakes work best at low pressure to prevent skids. C. Because full pressure is only needed for parking, not for normal driving. D. Driving with insufficient air pressure can lead to partial or no braking capability. The correct answer is D. Driving with insufficient air pressure can lead to partial or no braking capability. Allowing the system to reach cutout pressure ensures full brake responsiveness. Moving prematurely is dangerous as your brakes may not stop the vehicle effectively. What color is typically associated with the emergency supply line on a tractor-trailer's air system? A. Black, B. Green, C. Blue, D. Red. The correct answer is D. Red. The red line feeds air to the trailer's reservoir and controls the emergency brakes. It's standardized to prevent confusion during hookups. What is the role of the alcohol evaporator in some air brake systems? A. It removes brake dust from the drums to prevent squealing. B. It replaces the air dryer and eliminates all moisture permanently. C. It increases air pressure by adding vapor volume to the tanks. D. It introduces alcohol vapor to prevent ice buildup in the airlines. The correct answer is D. It introduces alcohol vapor to prevent ice buildup in the airlines. Icing can block airflow and lead to brake failure in cold climates. The evaporator helps keep moisture from freezing, maintaining safe brake function. Why is it crucial to keep the air dryer in good working order? A. It increases horsepower by boosting intake air pressure. B. It replaces the need to drain air tanks manually. C. It helps remove moisture and contaminants from the compressed air. D. It lubricates the brake linings to prevent squealing. The correct answer is C. It helps remove moisture and contaminants from the compressed air. Moisture can freeze or corrode the brake system, leading to failures. A functional dryer significantly prolongs component life and reliability. How do you check that your service brakes are working properly during a pre-trip inspection? A. Drive backward quickly and slam the brakes to check for lockup. B. Drive forward slowly, apply the service brake, and note any pulling, unusual feel, or delayed stopping. C. Pump the brake pedal rapidly until the air gauge reaches maximum. D. Apply the parking brake at high speed to confirm stopping power. The correct answer is B. Drive forward slowly, apply the service brake, and note any pulling, unusual feel, or delayed stopping. This test confirms the brakes are responding consistently and effectively. Any strange noises, vibrations, or uneven braking should be investigated. What does the anti-compounding valve prevent in an air brake system? A. It prevents the governor from cutting out above 125 psi. B. It prevents the service brake and spring brake from applying simultaneously and causing excessive force. C. It prevents the air compressor from running at idle. D. It prevents the low-pressure warning from activating during braking. The correct answer is B. It prevents the service brake and spring brake from applying simultaneously and causing excessive force. Without it, the combination of both brake forces could damage components. This valve ensures safer, more controlled braking under mixed conditions. What is the first step in an air brake leakage test with the engine off? A. Fully charge the air system, turn off the engine, and release the parking brake. B. Apply the service brake to the floor before shutting the engine off. C. Drain all tanks completely, then start the engine at fast idle. D. Put the vehicle in gear and roll slowly to check for pressure changes. The correct answer is A. fully charge the air system, turn off the engine, and release the parking brake. This puts the system at operating pressure with no brakes mechanically applied, giving a clean baseline to measure pressure drop accurately. How do you recognize a properly adjusted manual slack adjuster during inspection? A. It moves freely several inches to ensure smooth braking. B. It should only be checked when the brakes are fully applied. C. It should not move more than about 1 inch, with the brakes released when pulled. D. It should be locked solid and not move at all. The correct answer is C. It should not move more than about 1 inch with the brakes released when pulled. Excess free travel indicates the brakes won't engage fully. Keeping slack adjusters within specifications provides optimal braking efficiency. Why should air tanks be drained even if an automatic drain valve is installed? A. Because automatic drain valves only work in warm weather. B. Manual draining ensures all water and oil residue are removed, especially if the valve malfunctions. C. Because draining tanks adds lubrication to the brake chambers. D. Because manual draining increases air pressure above cutout. The correct answer is B. Manual draining ensures all water and oil residue are removed, especially if the valve malfunctions. Relying solely on the automatic system may leave hidden moisture. Performing a manual drain check is a more reliable way to maintain a dry system. How should you handle a situation where your low-pressure warning signal activates while driving? A. Speed up to help the compressor build air faster. B. Press the brake pedal repeatedly to silence the warning. C. Continue driving until the next scheduled stop as long as brakes still work. D. Immediately find a safe place to pull over and stop. The correct answer is D. Immediately find a safe place to pull over and stop. A low-pressure warning indicates a potential leak or compressor failure. Continuing to drive risks total brake loss, so safely stopping is essential. What is the main advantage of air brakes over hydraulic brakes in heavy commercial vehicles? A. They can handle heavier loads without brake fluid boiling or pressure loss. B. They require no maintenance once installed. C. They always stop in a shorter distance than hydraulic brakes in every condition. D. They work without any need for an air compressor or storage tanks. The correct answer is A. They can handle heavier loads without brake fluid boiling or pressure loss. Air brakes are designed for large vehicles and can provide consistent braking power under demanding conditions. Unlike hydraulic fluid, compressed air does not boil under heat, making it more reliable for heavy loads and repeated braking. What do you check regarding the compressor drive belt during an air brake pre-trip? A. Make sure the belt is soaked with oil to reduce friction. B. Make sure the belt is loose enough to slip under heavy load. C. Make sure the belt is removed so the compressor cannot overpressurize the system. D. Make sure the belt is in good condition and has proper tension. The correct answer is D. Make sure the belt is in good condition and has proper tension. A loose or worn belt can prevent the compressor from building adequate pressure. Regular checks prevent unexpected brake system failures on the road. How do you know if the spring brakes are applying automatically when you lose air pressure? A. The parking brake knob pops out and you feel the vehicle slow significantly. B. The service brake pedal becomes softer and the vehicle accelerates. C. The air pressure gauges rise rapidly above cutout. D. The trailer supply line turns from red to blue on the dashboard. The correct answer is A. The parking brake knob pops out and you feel the vehicle slow significantly. Spring brakes engage to stop the vehicle in low-pressure scenarios. This is a fail-safe to prevent uncontrolled movement. How do air-over-hydraulic brake systems differ from full air brake systems? A. They use only air pressure directly at the wheels with no hydraulic parts. B. They do not require any brake system checks because they self-adjust automatically. C. They use a hydraulic system boosted by compressed air rather than solely compressed air. D. They use only hydraulic fluid with no air components at all. The correct answer is C. They use a hydraulic system boosted by compressed air rather than solely compressed air. The air pressure applies force to a hydraulic piston, which then engages the brakes. They require checks of both the air and hydraulic components for safety. What must you do if the safety relief valve on an air tank releases air? A. Tighten the valve with a wrench so it cannot release again. B. Have the air system checked immediately. The governor may not be cutting out properly. C. Ignore it because the release means the system is working perfectly. D. Drain the air tanks completely and continue driving without refilling. The correct answer is B. Have the air system checked immediately. The governor may not be cutting out properly. The relief valve opens at around 150 psi to protect the system from overpressurization. If it activates, it signals a failure in the governor or compressor controls. Why is fanning the brakes, repeated quick presses, discouraged in an air brake system? A. It rapidly depletes air pressure without effectively reducing speed. B. It increases air pressure by cycling the compressor faster. C. It improves stopping power by building pressure in the brake chambers. D. It cools the brakes too quickly and causes them to crack. The correct answer is A. It rapidly depletes air pressure without effectively reducing speed. When you fan the brakes, the compressor may not keep up with pressure loss. This can lead to dangerously low air levels and reduced braking ability. What happens if the air pressure in the service tanks drops too low while driving? A. The warning light or buzzer activates, and eventually the spring brakes may engage. B. The service brakes automatically become stronger to compensate. C. Nothing happens until you press the brake pedal, then it resets. D. Only the trailer brakes stop working. The tractor brakes are unaffected. The correct answer is A. The warning light or buzzer activates, and eventually the spring brakes may engage. Loss of air pressure triggers safety mechanisms to prevent a runaway vehicle. If pressure remains too low, the spring, emergency parking brakes will set and stop the vehicle. Why is it important to drain water and oil from air tanks regularly? A. To improve tire traction by reducing moisture in the tires. B. To prevent the air compressor from overheating the fuel system. C. To increase air pressure above normal operating range. D. Moisture can cause brake system corrosion and freezing in cold weather. The correct answer is D. Moisture can cause brake system corrosion and freezing in cold weather. Condensation accumulates in air tanks, leading to rust or ice that obstructs airflow. Draining tanks daily ensures your brakes remain reliable and reduces maintenance costs. Want to pass the test on the first try? Get the complete 375-question cheat sheet and interactive practice tests at dmvsuccess.com. Click the link in the description to easily ace your CDL exam. Now back to the questions. What does a rapid drop in air pressure when the brake pedal is pressed suggest? A. That the air dryer is removing moisture as designed. B. That the compressor is cutting out correctly and needs no attention. C. A fully charged system operating normally. D. A major leak or damaged brake component. The correct answer is D. A major leak or damaged brake component. Leaks under application can lead to sudden brake loss. Finding and fixing the issue promptly is critical for safe operation. How do you test for proper spring brake engagement on a vehicle with air brakes? A. Pull the parking brake knob out at full speed to test engagement. B. Fully charge the system, turn off the engine, release the parking brake, then remove air pressure by pumping the pedal until the spring brakes engage. C. Drive at highway speed and wait for the spring brakes to apply. D. Drain the air tanks while driving downhill to see if the brakes engage sooner. The correct answer is B. Fully charge the system, turn off the engine, release the parking brake, then remove air pressure by pumping the pedal until the spring brakes engage. If they don't engage when pressure drops to a critical level, around 20 to 45 psi, the system is not functioning correctly. This test verifies the emergency parking brake will activate in a low-pressure scenario. What is the key benefit of a dual air brake system? A. It doubles braking force, so stopping distance is always cut in half. B. It provides redundancy, so if one circuit fails, the other can still function. C. It allows the vehicle to operate safely with empty air tanks. D. It eliminates the need for a low-pressure warning signal. The correct answer is B. It provides redundancy, so if one circuit fails, the other can still function. Dual systems separate front and rear or primary and secondary braking. This design increases safety and ensures partial braking capacity in case of a failure. What is the normal cut-in pressure for most air brake systems? A. Around 150 psi, B. Around 200 psi, C. Around 100 psi, D. Around 50 psi. The correct answer is C. Around 100 psi. Below this threshold, the compressor resumes pumping air. This ensures enough pressure to safely operate the brakes. Which pressure does the application pressure gauge show? A. It shows tire inflation pressure in the steer tires. B. It shows engine oil pressure during braking only. C. It shows the amount of air remaining in the trailer supply line. D. It shows how much air pressure you are applying to the brakes. The correct answer is D. It shows how much air pressure you are applying to the brakes. This gauge helps you judge how much braking force you're using. Monitoring it can prevent excessive brake use and overheating. What are slack adjusters and why do you check them? A. They regulate air pressure to the brake chambers to prevent skids. B. They cool the brake drums by channeling air onto the wheels. C. They connect the air dryer to the service tanks to remove moisture. D. They adjust the distance that the brake shoes must travel to contact the drum. The correct answer is D. They adjust the distance that the brake shoes must travel to contact the drum. If they're out of adjustment, you'll have too much brake pedal travel and reduced braking force. Proper adjustment is crucial for consistent and safe stopping power. That's it for this California Air Brake CDL exam practice test. To get the full study guide and guarantee you pass, click the link in the description. See you in the next one.